do you protect your assets? Okay, remember, rich people work for assets. Poor people work for money, a salary. Rich people work for assets. But you've got to protect your assets. You've got to protect your assets. Now, I build these strategies on how people can protect their assets. The first thing is, you've got to understand structures. And what does that mean is, you have vehicles that you will run your business in. You have vehicles that you will run your businesses. One of those things is called a trust. Okay? And a trust has got a founder. A founder that comes together and he builds a document called a trust deed that is registered at the master's office. Okay? And a trust deed is how this trust will be governed. So a trust has got a founder, right? And then the founder appoints trustees. Okay? Appoints trustees. Trustees are the people who run the trust. And there must always be an independent. There must always be an independent trustee. An independent trustee. He can have no connection. He can't be connected through family. He can have no connection to this trust. Okay? That is independent trustee. And then you get the beneficiaries. You get the beneficiaries, right? The beneficiaries now in a normal trust, let's just do this, a normal family trust, you would have the husband or wife is the founder to establish a trust, okay? Now, you get a testimonial trust, a living trust. This is a trust that comes into existence while the people are alive, okay? And then let's just say the wife and the husband are the trustees. The wife and the husband are the trustees, and they get an independent trustee. And that could be a company, it could be the auditor, it could be the lawyer, it could be someone that is not connected to the family. He is an independent trustee. It's very important that you run this trust based on the rules of the trust, because or else you're not going to get the benefit of this trust, because it's going to lose its whole purpose of protecting your assets. Now, you know that, let's say you have children and they are minor children. Minor children cannot be beneficiaries of an estate, right? So you give the assets directly to your minor children, then those assets will be sold and given to the government, the Guardian Fund, and where those assets will stay there in the Guardian Fund until your kids become a major. So it's very important that you got a plan for your future. It's very important that you got to protect your assets. Now, a trust is taxed at 45%. So what you don't want to do is operate in a trust. So I'm just speaking today about how to protect your assets. Now the reason is you can never protect your name. You can only protect your assets. Why? When you go to a bank and you get a credit card or you apply for an overdraft for your company, then you have to sign surety. You have to sign surety for the bank. So if something happens in your business or with yourself, they will come after you and they will come after your assets. Okay? So we use a trust as a vehicle to protect your assets, so no one can ever go after your assets. Your assets are protected. If you mess up in a business one day, no one can come and take your house because you messed up in your business, because your house is in a trust and it is a different entity. It's a different entity to yourself, right? So now, the next thing is, where will I hold these investments? Where will I hold these investments? Well, you will hold these investments in different PTY limiteds. you will have investments in different Pty limiteds. So you would have an investment, you would have your businesses in this Pty limited. You would have this properties portfolio in another Pty limited, and you could have some investments in another Pty limited. Why do you break up the different Pty limiteds? Because if something goes wrong in the one, you don't want your whole empire to crush, right? So you want to distribute your operations, your whole all the assets that you've worked for in your lifetime, you want to distribute it into different companies, and those companies will belong to your family trust. And you could have 2, 3 trusts. It all depends on, I advise you to go to your accountant and just look at this video, think about this video, go to your accountant and ask him, or why don't you contact us? Okay, at iecca.co.za. You can contact me. You can go to my Facebook page, Johnny Eliades, Success Strategist, johnnyeliades.com, and we can come and look at a strategy for you, and we can help you with this. Okay, so you go in and you build your different companies. Why? Because what happens if you buy a business and that business goes bankrupt? COVID came and it caused that business to go down because of COVID. Why must you lose your property portfolio? Why must you lose your investments? And maybe you will have 2, 3 businesses with your property portfolio, because you might be using gearing. You might have borrowed money to buy property, but now you owe the bank the money, and something goes wrong with that company. You can't pay the bank, so that company goes bankrupt. Don't put all your properties in one basket. I mean, a lot of times people say, Donald Trump or Robert Kiyosaki, there's always these billionaires who go bankrupt, but they're not going bankrupt. One of their companies are going bankrupt, because that's why they've structured themselves this way, so that if something goes wrong, yes, the company can go bankrupt, but it doesn't mean that they are going to lose their whole portfolio. Okay, now tax is 28% here, 28%, where tax over here is 45%. So why do you don't want to operate in a trust where it's taxed at 45%, you want to operate down here at 28%. Now there's another thing that happens. If someone comes and sues you or goes after your assets are protected in different vehicles. You should never own anything on your own name. Never. Billionaires, rich people never own anything on their own name, right? They never do that. They own all their assets. They control everything, but they own nothing. That's how rich people work, right? So they control the companies, but they don't own the companies, okay? They control the companies, but they don't own the companies. And what happens is, you can never get away. You can never get away of death. So what happens in normal circumstances when you die? Well, all your assets get frozen. All your bank accounts get frozen, all your assets get frozen, and it has to go to the courts, and you have to get an executor that is appointed in order to sell all your assets. Now, what are they going to happen? When you sell your assets, you're going to come up with, what are you going to come up with? You're going to have capital gains tax. You're going to have transfer duties. You're going to have transfer duties, okay? You're going to have estate duties tax, which is 20%. You're going to have transfer duties, which is a scaling back, capital gains tax. So all these taxes are going to come and hit you. Well, not you, you're going to be gone, but your kids will have to pay those taxes in order to transfer those properties over to you. Then you're going to get an executor who's going to take 3% of your whole estate. So you've worked your whole life You're an executor who's going to take 3% of your estate, and you're going to pay estate duties of 20%, and you're going to pay transfer duties, and you're going to pay capital gains tax to transfer your properties over. And if you die and your kids are a minor, they will sell all your assets, put them in a guardian fund until your kids become a major, and then he will be entitled to those assets. You don't want that. You don't want that. That's why you protect your assets by having a structure, by using companies and trusts. That's why you have them there. If you have everything on your own name, the government, SARS, is going to come and evaluate all those businesses where you will not be around. You're leaving those problems to your wife and children, where they will go and evaluate it, and they want the highest value as possible in order to get as much estate duty off you as possible, because you were not willing to structure yourself accordingly when you were alive. Remember, the rich people control their assets, but they don't own the assets. Okay? Why would you want to leave all those issues and forget when you're alive, if something goes wrong and they can liquidate you, then what happens? Okay? So then you lose everything. Why are you working that way? So guys, this is my training I wanted to do to you guys, how to make money, how to protect your money, and to make sure that you're working for assets, not for money. Now, if you like what you've heard and you want us to help you with what I've just said, why don't you contact us? You can send us an email. You can send us an email at info@ieint.com. Okay, you can go look at my website, johnnyeliades.com. Or you can go look at our ieint.com, iecca.co.za. Get hold of us. Let's get and build a strategy. Let's build a strategy for your business, and let's help you make some money. Okay? Let's help you make some money, and also let's help you protect the money that you make and make sure that you get to financial freedom and don't leave problems for the people that you leave behind when you leave this earth after you've made so much money. Why would you want to give that all the way to the taxman? Thank you very much, guys. This is Johnny Eliades, your success strategist, the owner and founder of the IE International Group of Companies, where we build great businesses. Thank you. Cheers.